Seoul begins the first day of May by swiftly carrying out measures to implement the agreements from last week's historic summit. The loudspeakers set up along the DMZ to blast anti-North messages are being taken apart and brought down. Park Jiwon starts us off with the baby steps taken to end hostilities across the border.
South Korea's defense ministry has begun dismantling the anti-North Korean regime loudspeakers set up along the demilitarized zone on the inter-Korean border. There are about 40 loudspeakers along the borderline that spans some 250 kilometers, and this was the first speaker dismantled on Tuesday afternoon. The South Korean Defense Ministry said that dismantling all the speakers will take more time considering regional and climatic conditions. This removal is part of efforts to implement the Panmunjom Declaration, in which the two sides agreed to stop all hostile acts from May 1st and to eliminate the means to perform such acts, including broadcasting messages through loudspeakers and distributing leaflets in the areas along the demilitarized zone. And military officials here in Seoul said Tuesday afternoon that North Korea also appears to have begun removing its loudspeakers as a follow-up measure to the agreement. The loudspeakers have a long history of sometimes being removed and sometimes set up again, according to the changing dynamics of inter-Korean relations. South Korea first started broadcasting messages to the north using the loudspeakers along the border in 1963, 55 years ago. In 2004, the broadcasts were suspended and speakers were removed following the June 15th South-North Joint Declaration. But in 2010, the loudspeakers were reinstalled again after a North Korean torpedo sank the South Korean warship Cheonan, and the broadcast resumed in 2015 after 2 South Korean soldiers were wounded by a landmine in the DMZ. The broadcasts were suspended later that year after 2 Koreas agreement. The current loudspeaker broadcast began back in January 2016 in response to North Korea's 4th nuclear test. Despite the moves to dismantle the speakers, South Korea's defense ministry assured the public that the military is maintaining its utmost readiness and preparedness while doing its best to carry out the measures of Friday's historic agreement. Park Jiwon, Arirang News.